Welcome back, everybody. It's Brian and Brennan here for Too Much Fantasy Football. You are here, of course, watching this video, getting ready for your running backs, trying to figure out where they are tiered, and that's what we're here to do. Brennan, you ready to roll?
I am ready to roll. I'm looking at your rankings right now and scratching my head a little bit, but we got to move forward.
Oh, well, shots fired, talking shit. Okay, I love it. We're getting fun today. Before we jump in, though, we got a bit of news here. And when I say a bit of news, that's really all it is. Zay Jones to the Cardinals. He was cut just a few days ago from the Jaguars. And then the MVS, he loves himself a good quarterback because clearly if we saw this guy with a bad quarterback, he wouldn't be in the league. But MVS to the Bills, hanging out with Josh Allen. Do you like either one? Which one do you like more, I guess?
I mean, it's just like the Bills have I don't know how many wide receiver fours they have on that roster now, but it's got to be like the fourth one. Like
looks like my dynasty team.
It's pretty impressive. And then we've talked about it before we recorded, but MVS has played with some outstanding quarterbacks, and he's just done absolutely nothing but just gotten decent paychecks. So kudos to him. I don't know what it is that superior quarterbacks like about him. I mean, I get it. He's just fast and he goes and he might catch it. Who knows?
The roller coaster for Josh Allen, watching the Chiefs trade away Tyreek Hill and pointing his finger laughing, ha ha, Patrick Mahomes, you've got nothing. He wins back-to-back Super Bowls, and now Josh Allen has to go ahead and do it. He lost his big weapon, and now his receiving core looks just as trash as Patty's did, and I don't think the same results are going to come. This might be we'll call it a soft rebuild for the Bills. They might need one more year to get some experience and some more players in there, but it'll be interesting for sure.
I guess if I had to pick, I'd like MVS to the Bills in regards to best ball purposes, because Zay Jones, he could compete for wide receiver too, maybe. I mean, Michael Wilson's there, but in the pecking order, I think he'll still be at the top no matter what. He'll be a 3 because I think it's obviously Michael. It's Michael. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. and then it's Trey McBride, and then he'll be the third option if that's as best as he does. So.
I mean, he flourished as a third option with Jacksonville. If we're being honest, as good as Calvin Ridley did when Zay Jones was on the field last year, I don't know why he wasn't telling the Tennessee, hey, go get Zay. Hey, go get Zay. You want me to live up to my $100 million? Go get Zay.
I still don't know why they paid him that much money.
Oh, God, I love it. Love it. It's a Colts fan, Titans. You pay him up.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into these running backs because we got to figure out where these guys are going. I'm going to start with my first tier because yours is just a reduction of that. I'm going to call it number 1. Don't overthink it. Not that we're putting these guys in any particular order, but I did put this tier in a particular order. I've got Breece, Bijan, and CMC. You old man, you're going at number 3. Does it really matter? No, it really doesn't matter. These guys are all worth, I feel, an equivalent pick, but they're just so great. They will see just unreal targets, the amount of touches they have, such great running backs here.
So if you had the first overall pick, you're taking Breece Hall then, correct?
In a single QB, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Okay, all right.
I'm not I can see myself taking Breece or Bijan over CMC in a single QB. Now, I might take a wide receiver at that 101, but I wouldn't. Actually, this year, probably not. Yeah, give me Breece Hall, 101.
All right.
I'm not afraid of it this year.
All right. Fair enough. So my first tier is just CMC because there's only one player that belongs in that tier, and it's Christian McCaffrey. He will go in single quarterback leagues. He will go 101. I would be surprised if it's anybody else. Even if it's a three wide receiver league, I still expect CMC to go 1 just because 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. He's just a vulture for touchdowns. I mean, I think he's in his own tier. Now, the other 2 guys that we mentioned, younger versions of CMC is my next tier, which is Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson. Breece Hall obviously has shown that he can just be the team, and hopefully this year with Aaron Rodgers coming back, he gets, it's not as obvious they're just going to give the ball to Breece Hall 30 times a game and to be that, which is great for PPR, but I mean, I expect it to be a little bit more, in flux with Garrett Wilson and Mike Dobbs and everything else like that, but I still expect Breece Hall to have, like he said, the coach, 19 or 15 to 20 touches, which is still elite numbers. And then Bijan Robinson, let's just hope they actually use him since they spent a 7th overall pick, and he should be the goal line back and everything else and not Cordell Patterson, even though he's not on the team.
Yeah, I'm excited with the OC for the Falcons coming from the Sean McVay tree.
Yes.
I expect they will use, even if Tyler Algier still gets rolled into the mix a little bit to give him some rest, Bijan will still be used at an unreal rate. I have no doubt about that at all this year.
Yeah, I agree.
So my next tier, I call it last group with trust and top end upside. I think that there is quite the bottom really falls out after I think these first three running backs and then this next group. I've got JT, I've got Gibbs, Barkley, Kyron Williams, and I cheated. Devon Achane is in this tier, and he's also in like two tiers later because that's just where he is. His
Okay.
consistency isn't going to be what he finishes at. He's going to give you RB1 finishes and then RB3 finishes. But I think overall that average of RB2 is what you're looking for. But I wouldn't doubt anybody for taking him over Kyron, over Saquon. Just that upside is just unreal with him.
Yeah, I'm a little more down on Achane, and it's not because when he's on the field he's magical. It's just he's so tiny. Can he stay on the field at all times? And Raheem Mostert was so good last year, and I know they had that 70-point game against Denver where they both were, running back one and running back two. And I remember that week I was like 20th in points for DraftKings, and I saw the dude who was one. He literally had Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane. I'm still bitter to that about this day, which is still impressive to put. And he won, $500,000. Kudos to that guy. But yeah, I'm just a little bit out on Achane. My next tier is I'm very happy to have you as my running back one. So Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, and Kyron Williams all fall into this category. When you walk out of that draft and you see them as your first running back, you're very happy because you just know that they all have top 5 potential.
Yeah, I like, yeah, these guys, if you're best ball and you want to go RB anchor, grab one of those guys. I think everybody that we've just talked about are all people I'm willing to take because
Mm-hmm.
after that, the question marks are just being shot out. It's
Yes.
unreal. You've got a pretty big tier on your next one. Go ahead and drop those guys to us.
Yeah. So I this tier is I think they all can finish right around the same. That's why I'm pretty comfortable putting them there. Like I have some favored more than the others, but it's called I'm closer to running back 2 than I am running back 1. So at the end of the year, I expect these guys to probably be, highest to highs is like RB10, but theoretically probably anywhere from 12 to 15. It's Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne Jr., Josh Jacobs, Joe Mixon, Rashad White, Devon Achane, Isaiah Pacheco, and James Cook. I know I have a lot of running backs there, but I think all those guys I just have, safe RB2 weeks no matter what they do, just because they're the only guys there, or they just get flooded with work within the passing game, or they're just right at the goal line touchdowns. There's just something to them that allows them to be very safe as RB2.
Yeah, that X factor, that kind of that security that comes
Mm-hmm.
with them. I essentially have that tier of yours broken into three just because I thought I'd get fun and get cute with mine. I've got my touchdown kings in my next one: Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon's in line for a hefty amount of work. Derrick Henry is about the only healthy guy in that backfield right now, so touchdown should be there. And then Etienne finished as a top 5 running back, not because of efficiency, not because he was running well, but because of the touchdowns. He had multiple touchdown games, multiple touchdown games, and it was just unfair playing against him in the first 8 weeks. Josh Jacobs, James Conner, they've got rookies chomping at their heels. I think both of these guys are pretty safe for this year, but after that, James Conner is much older into the contract. Josh Jacobs just re-signed the contract, but it's a little sketchy. They could pull out, I think, after this year. And both of them did have rookies come in. And then my last tier is Pacheco, Zamir White, and Rashad White. I think these guys have more security than you'd think. None of them really had an incumbent come in. They've got players behind him. Rashad White does have Bucky Irving behind him, but he was a day 3 pick and didn't do great at the combine, came down. So may take some of the pass catching from him, but I think these guys, they're probably going to be going in the running back dead zone, which I don't like to flirt with typically. But there's always somebody that emerges from that, and I think these three definitely have that position.
Yeah, you're more higher on Zamir White than I am for sure. I
I
mean,
don't want to be.
and I get it. It's just I don't. He didn't really do a lot of pass catching when he came over that role, right? If I'm not mistaken, he was very much a 2 down back, and then that was basically it. And they brought in somebody else for the 3rd down. So, I mean, for me, my next tier is I'm content with you being my running back 2. So these guys, it's about 8 to 9 names. Again, you're going to feel really comfortable with them being your RB2, which is Alvin Kamara, Kenneth Walker III, Ramondre Stevenson, Aaron Jones, James Conner, David Montgomery, Najee Harris, Zamir White, DeAndre Swift, and then Raheem Mostert's in that final tier of mine.
Yeah, it's a big section there. All guys that have, whether it be touchdown upsigns with like Montgomery, Najee should be involved with quite a bit of volume. And then all of these pass catchers that you have in there with your Ramondre Stevensons, your Aaron Jones. That's kind of how I broke the tier up myself. Again, I kind of split yours into like 2 or 3. I've got my touchdown kings light, which would be Gus Edwards and Montgomery. Now, they fell in behind Zamir White, but that's just because I wanted to get cute and put Zamir White with those other 2. I would take both of these guys over Zamir White in, I think, all formats. Next one I've got is volume should be there, but question marks. That's Najee, Kenneth Walker, and James Cook. All of these guys, you could make a fight for, the incumbent, taking Jalen Warren over Najee Harris based on ADP, taking Charbonnet over Ken Walker, or even taking Ray Davis over James Cook, just because these guys, again, are going to be in that like ambiguous backfield. They're going to be taking in the running back dead zone. So if you want to avoid that altogether, I'm not afraid. And then I've got my pass catching guys, Aaron Jones, Kamara, Swift, Tajay, and Ramondre.
Yeah, I like the only one I think that I wouldn't be so worried about with you is James Cook in that area. I think James Cook has his role solidified out of those 3 between Kenneth Walker and Najee Harris. But man, that's so crazy to see Alvin Kamara lower than you are than I am. I'm looking through some of our lists and it's just like a little bit of discrepancies. But I get why Alvin Kamara is getting older, and Derek Carr is Derek Carr. But
too.
Did you?
Like Kendra.
Yeah, I'm not. I think Alvin Kamara I think it's the last year for me for Alvin Kamara for redraft. This is the 1 year to go for it to be this year. So
I'm one of those people, I happen to buy in on the wrong year. I'm like, you know what? Maybe he does have one more year. Let me grab it. If you look at my Dynasty League, I've got too much Tyler Lockett this year. He's another one of those guys. I'm like, I think that bell's been rung. Alvin Kamara, I can't. He was great. He missed multiple games last year, and he still finished way up there just because Derek Carr can't throw a pass to save his life, so he dumps it off to Kamara. So if you take that away, though, we've got a new OC in the Saints, so maybe they do try to get the ball downfield a little bit. Chris Olave is a superstar in the making if they could just do something with him. So I don't know. I wouldn't doubt anybody for taking Alvin Kamara, looking at him as a solid RB2, but just me, myself, I think the risk doesn't quite outweigh it. And as I say it, I feel like we're going to be making fun of me this time next year. So who knows?
My next tier is there's worse options for a flex. So I think a lot of these guys, you'd be like, all right, I'm okay with them being my flex. It could be worse elsewhere. It's Tony Pollard, Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, Gus Edwards, Jalen Warren, Javonte Williams, Bijan Robinson, and I had to throw in Nick Chubb just because I think what Cleveland did, I think they still have faith in Nick Chubb being the guy when he comes back.
Javonte Williams, he's in this tier for you. Any hope? Are you a Javonte guy?
Yeah, just because they took Estime, the running back from Notre Dame, in like the 5th round. So I know Jaleel McLaughlin, had his moments, but at the end of the day, Javonte Williams, he can run in between the tackles, he can catch the ball. I think he'll be the goal line back. I just think he's the back I'd want to own out of Denver, no matter what.
And then looking at your tier, we've got Tony Pollard in this one and Tajay Spears in your next tier. You lean more Tony Pollard going into the season?
Yeah, I'll follow the money. I think Tony Pollard, I think they have, plans for him. I think Brian Callahan wants him to be the running back 1, but I think it'll be like a 60-40 split, 65-35 split. So I don't think he'll be pass catching as much as he did in Dallas, and they'll leave Tajay Spears with that because Tajay Spears showed that he could do that. So I think Tony Pollard will be definitely more of like a Zamir White kind of a role where it's the first 2 downs.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have any exposure to Tony Pollard. I'm definitely all in on Tajay Spears this year. I think that just the athleticism, the age, what we saw with in the pass catching, and I've never been a Tony Pollard guy. Maybe it's just the Dallas Star rubs me the wrong way, but he's definitely in a tier for me where I just call it murky AF. Tony Pollard, Jalen Warren, Brian Robinson Jr., Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler. I don't want to have to make a decision on these guys, is I guess where they land. I have no problem being wrong on any of these guys. I just don't want to have to they turn into a roster clog. At what point are you able to drop some of these names if they aren't producing after week 3, after week 4? Jalen Warren can easily take over that backfield with hurt Najee or with what's his name, the new OC, just starting doing stupid shit.
Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, I got to look at it as like, all right, like, let's, again, this is where you got to pay attention to camp training. Camp training hype is a thing, but also, like, if they say it enough, like, you got to at least follow and believe it. Like, my last tier is scraps and hopefuls. So it's Austin Eckler, Tajay Spears, Rico Dowdle, and Jonathan Brooks. I think Jonathan Brooks will be a lot higher when it comes to August time. I have him really, really low just because still not sure how his ACL recovery is going, what they'll do with him. But again, they traded up, 10 spots to go and get him. So I know they would like to make him the bell cow back. And that's what the head coach for Carolina has done, as being the offensive coordinator for the past 2 seasons with the teams he's ran. So, but I'm out on Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler should be a lot lower. I will not own him in any format. Don't care. I think he is washed, and I would not draft him, and I wouldn't touch him with a 10 football.
Nope. I'm not on a train, not on a bus, nowhere. I will not have Austin Eckler. I will not. Jonathan Brooks, yeah, I had to put him in rookie fever, his own little tier. 100% is going to decide on what are we hearing come August. Right now, everybody's healthy and nobody has anything wrong with them, according to these reports. So I'm trying to, take all this with a grain of salt. He's young, so he could recover faster than normal, but just the apprehensiveness with him is, where we're kind of sitting at this point in May. It's really all we had as far as our tiers. We didn't go too deep here. We're still looking at the RB2s, maybe top end RB3s. But are there any dart throws you're looking at right now? Anybody that's outside of our tiers that you're kind of like, all right, I'm interested to see where they fall?
I think it's Chris Brown from Cincinnati, to see like where he goes and like how much the camp goes up for him. So that's where I'll see. But other than that, no. My last question to you would be like, who's going to have the most points out of the Dallas running back field? Will it be Rico Dowdle? Will it be Zeke? Will it be Royce Freeman?
I'm going to go a little wild here, and I think their rushing leader isn't even on the team right now.
That's impressive. All right.
I don't know. Just rumors, but we've seen Najee trade rumors, or I did over the last few days. Maybe Dallas, I saw that Dallas was interested in him. From the way Sean Payton talks, I don't think he likes Jonathan Williams at all. I think with
Williams?
Javonte Williams.
Said
sorry. Yeah. Javonte Williams. It doesn't sound like he likes him very much. He's completely okay with, I don't believe he watched a film of Audric Estime, but he was all excited about him coming in. Jaleel McLaughlin was one of his picks from last year. So do we see maybe him get traded on his last year of his contract? Najee as well. Dallas didn't do crap this offseason, so I wouldn't throw that out of the realm of possibilities just to maybe get their fans back a little bit. Hey, we're going to go actually get a running back. So I'm going to play that game, and I say that Dallas makes a move for a running back.
All right. That's a good call. At the end of it, I think Rico Dowdle has the most points just because of I think he's younger, and he's not Zeke. So
yeah, Zeke's just going to piss you off whether you draft him or you don't. It's always going to be the wrong answer.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, that is going to wrap up our running back tiers for today. Of course, we talked about the guys from the top all the way to the bottom. Come back with us next time. We're going to see you in a few days, and we're going to talk about our wide receiver tiers. And, of course, we have to finish with tight end tiers because that's what everybody loves, right? That's the favorite position in fantasy. That's the rumor.
So much fun. Right? So much fun. If you were to ask my wife, it's her favorite thing to talk about, especially Travis Kelce.
Do you got anything to share with the folks? Where can they find all your work?
They can find me on Twitter at FFANBMulk, and then I'm in the Facebook group chat with Fantasy Football Network. So if you ever see me in there, I comment on most people dynasties, questions, and everything else like that. And then if you have a question down below on our videos, I'll comment back and answer your questions about any league.
Yeah, make sure you're reaching out to us. We love the interaction, whether it be here on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We're all there on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. And, of course, you can't get enough of me. Check out my best ball shows. We've got too much best ball coming at you each and every week, and our live stream on Friday nights. But until next time, we'll see ya. Bye.